I just made a relatively inexpensive, I would say, addition to my home theater that looks like it's going to have some pretty impactful difference in terms of visual quality of the whole projection-based presentation and performance, and that's adding some masking panels. So in my theater, I have a Seymour AV screen. It's a fixed frame, 163-inch scope, 240, 2.4 to 1 aspect ratio. And I use it in a constant image height setup, which means I use the lens memories of my projector. If I'm watching a 16:9 piece of content, the projector will basically zoom down, and there'll be blank space, some dead space to the left and the right of the image. For 185 to 1 content, kind of in between, we zoom up a little bit. The amount of dead space goes down, but there's still a pretty considerable amount there. And in my case specifically for scope content, even when I zoom all the way up as much as I can, I still don't entirely fill the screen. I've got about 5 inches of dead space on the left and the right that the projector zoom and all of its settings can't fill based on my throw distance. And I'll solve that situation in the long run for the room. I'm still very glad that I chose the screen size that I did, but I finally decided to say that it's time to add some masking panels, see what masking does to the image quality or the perceived color and contrast and image performance, and see what masking is all about. So my intention actually was just to buy 2 5-inch custom masking panels, put them up, leave them up all the time. The majority of the content that we watch in the theater is ultra widescreen scope content, so most of the time we're watching content that is zoomed up as much as we can. I figure I can fill out those 5 inches on the far left and the far right, see if it makes any little bit of impactful difference in the overall performance. But I benefited a little bit because there was a little mistake made, and I'm actually going to, I think, end up with 2 sets of masking panels. What I have is actually the masking panel to convert my 240 screen to a 16:9 or a 178 screen. So I've been experimenting with these a little bit. I pulled up some different types of content, 16:9 content, with and without the panels, and I'll show those in a second. But I wanted to comment a little bit. This is all Seymour AV. Again, I bought the screen from them. It's a Center Stage XD acoustically transparent screen. I really liked the screen. I think the performance has been awesome. And so, of course, you want to get your masking panels most likely from the manufacturer of the screen. These things were shipped perfectly packaged like a tank. Great foam and bubble wrap surrounding and all of that. Not going to get any kind of damage really during shipment. The box had hard cardboard edge pieces taped in. And ultimately what we have with these, on one side we have basically little guitar picks that slot into the bottom of the screen, and on the other side at the top here, it's essentially magnetic. So you go up to your screen, you set in the bottom, boom, and you kind of clip up, or magnet up rather, the top. They sit nice and firm and stable, and everything is good. Of course, there's 2 of them, 1 for each side of the screen. Now, of course, some type of an automatic masking system would certainly be preferable to having to walk up to your screen and change stuff out. And ideally, I would really need 3 different sides of masks if I wanted to use the masks with all the different types of content that I might actually put up on the screen. I'd want 1 for 16:9, 1 for 185, and then 1 for ultra widescreen. That doesn't even necessarily cover all of the different aspect ratios for content that you might encounter nowadays, but it really kind of hits the main 3. I'm not going to buy a 3rd one of these. I'm going to be good with 2, and so I'll use these for the 16:9, and I'll leave the other ones up for scope or anything that may actually hit an aspect ratio in between. All right, so we'll show this off actually in room here. This is The Lion King. I was looking for a 16:9 movie that I already had downloaded to my Kaleidescape, preferably something in HDR. This is shooting with my JVC NX7, again, onto that 163-inch scope Seymour AV screen. Of course, right now the masks are not up and the lights are on full bore, and you can really see the difference between everything else in the field of view here. Black curtains, black velvet frame, and all of that versus kind of the light gray of what's to the left and the right of the screen. If I go ahead and dim the lights, those left and rightmost sections are going to get a little bit darker to the point where it's almost maybe a little bit even challenging to discern them in the camera. I can tell you though that on screen right now, outside of the actual screen image, it's not black. It is definitely a lighter lighter black. I would call it still very much a dark gray. I've used it like this for a long time and it hasn't really bothered me, but that doesn't mean that we can't make our systems better with other additions and so on. So let's put one of the masks up and take a look at that. All right, so there you go. How do you like that? The left mask is in, the right mask is out. Notice any difference? Let's turn the lights down just to see the difference as the lights go dim here using the Control 4 system. Still, again, we've got black. Thick, full, velvety black now on the left-hand side of the screen, and that lighter black, darkish gray. There's actually even what could, I think some people would even consider more distracting. There's actually two levels kind of the less black or the darker gray on the far right. There's the first strip just outside the actual image where the 4096 horizontal resolution of the projector is actually visible, which is a little bit brighter, and then it goes into a little bit of a darker gray. So there's kind of like two shades to the left and right of the image, whereas you put that mask up and boom, everything is just solid, nice, perfectly black. Let's put the other one up as well. And there you go, just inky black, full velvety smooth frame. We'll dim the lights. You can tell the lights are on. You can see that little strip of white in the bottom right-hand corner. That's a little bit of the baseboard trim peeking out. Of course, it goes away when the lights are down, just behind the curtains there. Yeah, this is just absolutely, absolutely fantastic. I don't know why it took me so long to go ahead and pick these up. And I look forward actually to having the other ones for the 5-inch zoomed scope image as well. So there you are, masking panels. Again, I think this is an element of my system that I kind of discounted or overlooked, I think, for far too long. Now, granted, I don't watch that much 16:9 content. However, if I did any gaming, I could probably put them up for that, and it'll be nice, actually. I'm kind of glad it worked out this way, having both panels. It really makes me think in the future, let's say down the road, more money to spend in a more premium iteration or whatever of my space. I really think like a constant image height screen with horizontally movable, adjustable masking panels that can come out and you can hit exactly the width you need for certain aspect ratios and all that. And with the control systems we have, you hook it up to a video processor, right? All of that stuff can work in tandem with each other. I think there's really some magic there. So hopefully with this, my colors are a little more punchy. The black level feels a little bit deeper. I'll be curious to see after watching a variety of content with the panels in place, just how impactful does it actually seem. The thing that I will have to get over is kind of the manual aspect of it, meaning particularly with having two sets of panels depending on the content. More often than not, again, I'm watching movies, I'm watching more widescreen or ultra widescreen style stuff, so the 5-inch ones will probably go up and stay up the majority of the time, but I'll have to keep these 16:9 masking panels handy for the times in the moments where we watch something in that aspect ratio. But the swap is honestly really easy. For 2 hours invested, 2 hours plus invested in watching a movie, spending 2 minutes to put these panels up shouldn't really be a problem. And I think what I might do actually is just leave them like on the floor at the front of the room, right below the screen or something. They'll blend away, black velvet, right into the darkness, sitting on the front of the rug right there, and hopefully nobody should step on them and shouldn't have to dig them out from behind the couch or anywhere else. So I'll have to give that some thought, and we'll see in practice how we actually end up using them. I can guarantee that if I'm not the one changing them for a family movie, nobody else probably is going to. So that's another limitation, I think, of going the manual route. So sound off in the comments. Do you run your theater without masking? Did you add masking? Did you notice a difference? Did you have an epiphany having masking in a system versus not having masking? Do you have it and actually use it? Do you have it and not use it? All those different stories, share them in the comments and let other people know what you think. Maybe help some other folks make a decision to go ahead and buy some panels, or maybe not bother with them themselves. And thanks again to Seymour AV and Dan at AudioVision for sourcing this stuff for me. As usual, please do all that regular YouTube stuff, like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, share the video, leave those comments, and if you would like to support the channel, super thanks, PayPal, Venmo tips, audio advice, Amazon affiliate links, it's all down there in the description below. I greatly appreciate anything that you may be willing to do. I'll be talking more about these as I watch more content, So stay tuned in the future live streams, the future podcasts, and thanks for watching. Come on back for more home theater discussion and fun.